Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is time for my TBR game for December. In this game, Scrabble picks my TBR. I spell 5 words and those are my 5 reading prompts for the month. It is the last TBR game of the year, and to be honest with you, there was nothing really specific that I was looking to read this month. There was one book that I wanted to read, which I didn't put it on the TBR, but I think I'll still have time to read it this month. And that is Silent Night's Christmas Mysteries, edited by Martin Edwards. Martin Edwards is the current president of the Detection Club, a mystery writers club based in London that was founded back in the 1930s by people like Agatha Christie. So he's edited a lot of collections of classic crime stories, usually with a theme. So this is a Christmas-themed collection of crime stories. And obviously, since it's the month of Christmas, I want to read this month. This collection has stories from people like Arthur Conan Doyle, Marjorie Allingham, G.K. Chesterton, but also some people who aren't widely talked about in our modern era, because Martin Edwards likes to have famous crime writers and also more obscure crime writers in these collections. I believe there's another short story from Nicholas Blake, which was actually the pen name, the mystery writing pen name of Cecil Day-Lewis, who was the father of the famous actor Daniel Day-Lewis, fun fact, and he was also a member of the Detection Club, though he really was writing these crime stories just to make money, Cecil Day-Lewis, but that's actually like what he was more known for over his more highbrow writing. So that's the one book that I didn't get onto the TBR, but no worries. Now, before we get to the picks, I will mention that I did complete my TBR last month. I read all of the books on it except for The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood. I'm very sorry, I DNF'd this. So I do still give myself credit for the DNFs because I don't want to force myself to read books that I'm not enjoying. And I think, you know, as long as I made the attempt, it should count in terms of the points. I know people in my comments were like, oh, I remember liking this book, but I don't remember what it was about. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Very sorry to you guys, I DNF'd this book. I read over 100 pages, maybe closer to 200, and I was just really bored. I'm sorry. I do love The Handmaid's Tale. I enjoyed The Testaments, but The Blind Assassin bored me. I'm sorry. So I did complete the TBR, but I failed you guys on that front. So I'm sorry, but let's get into this month's December TBR picks. Okay, so we're starting over with a fresh board and I have all of my special tiles in play. Oop, don't drop them. So let's get started by picking 7 new letters. T, oh, shit. I had an R. I'm just holding it by the drawstring, so I dropped it and scared myself. D, R, W, I, and one more. E. Writer? Is that centered? Close enough. So this could be the book has a writer as a character in it, or it could be a book that's by a writer that I like. Or I guess I could do like a writer that's new to me. I mean, really, there's lots of ways that I could work with this. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. So the first prompt is writer, and I decided to go with a book that features famous writers as characters, and that is A Trace of Poison, the second Phillida Bright mystery by Colleen Cambridge. It's actually great that I mentioned the Detection Club because that, again, plays into this book. So Phillida Bright is the housekeeper of Agatha Christie, the most famous crime writer of all time. And in this series, Phillida ends up solving mysteries using some of the skills that she learned from her boss's books. And the premise of this second book in the series is that several of Agatha Christie's colleagues from the Detection Club are coming into town, I believe because there is a writing competition that is being held with the winner receiving publication or some sort of prize. However, the competition goes horribly wrong because one of the people in the competition is murdered. I believe that's the basic premise. But this book, because it features Agatha Christie and her colleagues from the Detection Club, really does work for this prompt. It has multiple famous writers as fictionalized versions of themselves. Obviously, Agatha Christie's in it, Dorothy L. Sayers, G.K. Chesterton. Continuing a series, always happy to do that. And that's going to be the first book on the December TBR. Drizzle. Oh no. Oh, good. She walked right over it. Did you see that? How considerate of her. She just stepped over the word. Oh, bless her little kitten heart. O. A. Ooh, dropped it. I'm a mess today. Oh, again. I keep dropping stuff. The cat walked over my board. Oh my word. E. S. R. Words. So I'm going to use a random number generator, and whatever number I get, that's how many words have to be in the title of the book. So we have a triple letter score on the R. So that becomes 3 plus 4 is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Next, this is a prompt that I've wanted to do for a long time. Words. So I used a random number generator and asked it to generate me a number between 1 and 7, and whatever number I got, that was how many words needed to be in the title of the book. So the number that I got was 6. 6 words in the title. I ultimately chose How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristen Perrin. This is a mystery set in a small town in England, I believe. So back in the 60s, this woman is told by a fortune teller that she will be murdered. She then, for the decades after, is constantly on high alert, expecting to be murdered. She's gathering secrets. She's keeping tally. Really, minding everybody around her in the village because she's convinced that someday one of them is going to murder her. In the present day, Annie, our main character, comes to the village to live with her aunt, the woman who was told by the fortune teller that she was going to be murdered. And when Annie arrives, yeah, her aunt's prediction has come true and her aunt has been killed. So Annie is now trying to figure out who killed her aunt, but it seems like a whole bunch of people in the village all have a motive for murder. This is a very talked about release from earlier in 2024, so I was pleasantly surprised to see that my library has a copy available. Obviously, I love mysteries, I love reading them, I write them, so I'm excited to give this one a try and see if I like it. I believe it is the first in a potential series also. C. L. E. And yeah, this is the last one. I. It has been a while since I did a social media prompt. So for this, I'm gonna go on Instagram, look through my feed, and whatever pops up in my social feed, that's what I'm gonna read. Of course, it has to be a book that I'm actually interested in reading and that's readily available. I'm not gonna force myself to read something I'm not interested in for the prompt, but I think this will be fun. It's been a while since I did one of these, so we'll see what the people I'm following are reading. So how many points is this? Okay, double letter on the C. So that's 2 plus 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 again. Next, social. I scrolled through my social media and actually I ended up choosing a book from the very first post that popped up. Now, this is actually a book that wasn't on my TBR, but I was considering reading it this month. So it worked out, even though it wasn't officially on my TBR list. The book that I'm going to read is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. One of my goals for 2024 was to read more classics again. I utterly failed at this. I really didn't read that many classics at all. I did finally read The Count of Monte Cristo, which was an accomplishment. And honestly, given how long it is, it really should count as 3 books. But other than that, I didn't read that many books from my classics TBR. So I thought, well, maybe I'll read A Christmas Carol in December because it's a seasonal read, it's a classic, and it's pretty short. I think it's under 200 pages. So onto the TBR it goes. I think most people know the story of A Christmas Carol. Obviously, it's very famous. Ebenezer Scrooge is an old miser, and on Christmas Eve, 3 ghosts show him his Christmas past, present, and future to help inspire him to change his ways. This will actually be my second Dickens book. I did read Bleak House for a Victorian novels course I took in college. I thought it was okay, very long and weird at times, but I have wanted to give Dickens another chance considering he's such a prolific author, and some of his other books do sound interesting to me. This is not the book that I originally planned to dip my toes back into Dickens with, if you will. But, you know, I'm not mad at it. I think December is a good time to finally read this classic. R. Q. T. E. Oops. And V. Vet. In the Scrabble dictionary, vet means a veterinarian. But in this case, I'm using it to mean a TBR vet. So not a huge amount of points, I don't think. It's double letter on the E. So that's 6, 7. Next, TBR vet. And tentatively, what I'm picking for this prompt is Cleopatra's Daughter by Michelle Moran. This is a historical fiction book centering around Cleopatra Selene, the daughter of Cleopatra and Mark Antony. After her parents' deaths, Selene and her twin brother are sent to Rome by their conquerors, and it's basically following her life from this point onward. I have owned this for a long time, honestly. Don't remember when I bought it. It could have been 2018 for all that I know. And I just really think I ought to read this at this point. So that's why it's going on the TBR. It has been so long, it's embarrassing. So I'm gonna try to rectify that this month. Hopefully I like it. G. O. Regret could be a book that I regret buying, a book that I regret adding to my TBR, a book that I regret putting off for this long, a book that deals with regret. Lots of choices. So that is what? There's just a triple letter on the E. So that becomes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 points. Finally, regret. For this prompt, I decided to go with a book that I regret having not read yet. I feel like that was a grammatically awkward sentence, but you know what I mean, right? And I decided to choose Agatha Christie, A Very Elusive Woman by Lucy Worsley. This is actually a non-fiction book. It's a biography of the Queen of Crime, Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie getting a lot of shout outs in this TBR, considering I'm not actually reading any of her books this month. But I've wanted to read this biography of Agatha Christie for a long time. I don't remember if this book came out in 2023, but there have definitely been several months where I thought about adding it to my TBR and things just didn't work out. So I definitely really want to read this, and I regret that it's taken me so long to get around to it. I did read Lucy Worsley's book about Jane Austen, who is my other favorite author next to Agatha Christie. So of course I gotta check out her Agatha Christie biography. Agatha Christie is also just one of my greatest writing inspirations. The book that I wrote and recently signed with a literary agent for, that's inspired by Agatha Christie and the Detection Club. So she is one of my favorite authors, a big inspiration to me in terms of mystery writing. It's about time that I read this book and learn a little more about her life. All right, everyone, thank you for watching. Those are going to be this month's prompts, and next month I will carry over the Q and the O. So everybody, that is my December TBR. I hope you enjoyed watching. Let me know in the comment section, what books are you planning to read to finish out the year? Do you still have any reading goals that you need to accomplish? Do let me know. If you're still here and you want to show your support but you don't know what to comment, why don't you leave a snowflake emoji so I know that you watched and enjoyed this video. Please do give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you next time.